Yep. Everybody good? Yep. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody here. We're here today to give an update. This will be the final update on the smoke and mirrors operation, just to give everybody an idea what it's about, and then I'm going to introduce the people that's behind me. This is a major drug trafficking organization that we did an investigation on called Smoke and Mirrors. Some of y'all might recall this resulted in a law enforcement seizure of well over 400 pounds of methamphetamine, 40 pounds of cocaine, 3 pounds of fentanyl, 19 firearms, and over $935,000 in cash. I'd like to say who all's behind me. As with everything, this is very much a team effort, and the people behind me represents the agencies who worked on this team. And this is a pretty wide-ranging group, and they all played a very important and special role in this. But standing behind me include FBI Special Agent in Charge Kevin Rojak out of the Pittsburgh Field Office, DEA Assistant Special Agent in Charge J.T. Scroggs, Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Dan Karshishins, ATF Resident Agent in Charge Dave Bullard, MDENT Assistant Coordinator PJ Hodge. From the West Virginia State Police, we have the Colonel Jack Chambers. We have Lieutenant Colonel Brian Makins, Major Eric Widmeyer, and Corporal Michelle Schaefer. We have Deputy Chief of Police Jason Webb of the Charleston Police Department. We have Chief Deputy Joe Crawford and Captain J.D. Meadows of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. Nitro Police Chief Chris Fleming, St. Albans Chief Mark Gilbert, and the West Virginia Air National Guard Chief Warrant Officer 5 Larry Helming. Like I said, these represent just the agencies that were involved in this investigation. This was very much a team effort. Required a lot of work on everybody up here, and there's even more people out there who do not wish to be on camera, do not wish to stand on here, that even did some more special work. I'm going to speak today, and then Kevin Rojak from the FBI and J.T. Scroggs from DEA is going to speak. At the end of that, we will take any questions that anyone has. All right, this is a really incredible story. This is, like I said, the last chapter in Smoke and Mirrors. The investigators in this case followed a trail of methamphetamine that was being sold here in Charleston and the surrounding area of West Virginia, and traced it all the way back to Los Angeles, California, and to our southern border. This organization was bringing methamphetamine across our southern border on pallets containing hundreds of pounds at a time. This drug trafficking organization used tractors and trailers to transport the drugs, often several hundred pounds for each stop, from the West Coast to the Southern District of West Virginia. The drugs were usually exchanged for hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, which was then delivered back into California. And this did not only affect southern West Virginia. This drug trafficking organization also sent large amounts of controlled substances to Atlanta and other parts of Georgia, as well as South Carolina and other places. This was such a large organization that it was directly involved in setting the price of methamphetamine across the country by raising the price of methamphetamine into the United States based on fluctuations in the currency conversion rate. This was not some small-time operation. This was incredibly large operations. One of the shipments to West Virginia included approximately 196 pounds of methamphetamine, 4 kilograms of cocaine, driven from California to Bluefield in West Virginia by March of 2023. The truck driver in that case was Ildilberto Gonzalez Jr. At that shipment, once he delivered the drugs, he received a box that he believed contained approximately $400,000 as payment. As he was driving away from the transaction, law enforcement got involved, pulled him over, and not only seized the cash, we also seized his 2009 Freightliner semi-truck with its attached trailer. Gonzalez was sentenced back in July of this year to 14 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute a quantity of methamphetamine. He also admitted that he made this delivery at the directions of Alejandro Gallegos and had previously delivered boxes for defendant Gallegos. Gallegos, also known as Alex or Rooster, G or Primo, is 42 years old, lived in Hacienda Heights, California, and he received and distributed methamphetamine directly from Mexico that had come across the border. This is where the story gets a really good story from our local law enforcement. Agents from our local FBI and MDENT traveled to Los Angeles, conducted surveillance on Gallegos. They observed him and located him in a public area near Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, wherein they apprehended him. They did use the assistance of local law enforcement in Los Angeles, but these were charges that originated in the Southern District of West Virginia. Back in June of this year, he pled guilty to distributing more than 500 grams more of methamphetamine and 500 grams or more of mixture and substance containing detectable amounts of cocaine, and awaits sentencing shortly. For the purpose of sentencing, we will make an argument that Mr. Gallegos is personally responsible for more damage done to our communities by methamphetamine than any other single defendant who has ever appeared in the United States District Court for the Southern District of West Virginia. Once it got here, there was other people involved. The methamphetamine and other drugs ended up in hands of dealers like Antonio Jeffries, who at one point delivered 50 pounds of methamphetamine on a single occasion to a customer in St. Albans. Mr. Jeffries had been in federal prisons for drug offenses before, and we expect a significant sentence to be handed down when he is sentenced on October 7th. Another person involved in this was Carl Funderburk, who is another significant dealer who had a previous federal felony conviction involving drugs. He had previously pled guilty, and he'll be sentenced next week. In the hearing that happened this morning, this was the last major player in this case. Trey Avery Davis, age 36, of Charleston, pled guilty to possession with the intent to distribute 40 grams or more of a mixture and substance containing fentanyl. Davis admitted that he had delivered approximately 2,000 blue pills containing fentanyl to a Kemp Avenue residence in Charleston on March 7th of 2023. Law enforcement seized those pills at the residence on March 9th. Davis admitted that he intended to distribute at least some of these pills to other people. Davis is scheduled to be sentenced on January 9th of next year and faces a mandatory minimum of 10 years and up to life in prison, and up to a possibility of an $8 million fine. Among some of the other defendants that have been previously sentenced in this case, Jasper Wim, 39, was sentenced to 16 years and 8 months for conspiracy to distribute 50 grams or more of methamphetamine. Michael Allen Roberts Jr., 41, of St. Albans, was sentenced to 14 years for conspiracy to distribute 500 grams or more of a mixture containing methamphetamine. Justin Allen Bowen, 42, of Charleston, was sentenced to 12 years and 7 months for conspiracy to distribute 50 grams or more of methamphetamine. Perry Johnson Jr. of Georgia was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine. Todd Tyler Sneed of Virginia was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute 500 more grams of methamphetamine. Ryan Keith Kincaid of South Charleston was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute cocaine. Once again, I want to praise the law enforcement that were involved in this. The FBI, the DEA, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Investigations, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the U.S. Postal Inspective Service, the Metropolitan Drug Enforcement Network, also known as MDENT. They went above and beyond on this. They accompanied the FBI to apprehend Gallegos in California. The West Virginia State Police has been very instrumental. The West Virginia National Guard Counter-Drug Program, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, the Charleston Police Department, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, and the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office. MDENT, as I mentioned before, is comprised of officers from Charleston Police Department, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Nitro Police Department, the St. Albans Police Department, and the South Charleston Police Department. All these hearings, this entire case has been managed by Judge Johnston, and I want to give a special shout out to my AUSA that's handled this case, Jeremy Wolf. I think he's lived and breathed this case for the last year and a half to 2 years. I'm not going to name some of the actual individual agents involved. They know who they are, and they know they've done an incredible job serving the people of West Virginia. I'd now like to turn it over to FBI Special Agent in Charge Kevin Rojek at the Pittsburgh Field Office.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Thompson. And thank you to all our law enforcement partners standing with us here today. As the U.S. Attorney stated, my name is Kevin Rojek. I'm the Special Agent in charge of FBI Pittsburgh. Today's plea marks somewhat of an end to Operation Smoke and Mirrors. While this operation marked the largest methamphetamine seizure in West Virginia history, make no mistake, our work and that of our local, state, and federal partners is far from finished. Our presence here today sends a two-part message. First, to those individuals who think Southern West Virginia can be a place to peddle these dangerous, poisonous drugs, think again. We are using every single tool at our disposal to rid our communities of these substances, of the violence that comes with them, and of the people who are doing this. Secondly, to every family, organization, business, and neighborhood impacted by drugs, please know that the FBI and our partners at all levels are working relentlessly to protect you. We will not stop. Our communities deserve to be free of these substances, and the men and women of the FBI are fiercely committed to that mission, but we can't do this alone. To fight back against the deadly threats posed by methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl, and those who pollute our neighborhoods with violence, our local, state, and federal partners are standing shoulder to shoulder to ensure our communities remain a safe place where our children and our families can thrive. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce DEA Assistant Special Agent in Charge, based out of here in Charleston, J.T. Scroggs.
Good afternoon. I'll try to, I'll try to make this quick. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. As U.S. Attorney Thompson stated, my name is J.T. Scroggs. I'm the DEA Assistant Special Agent in charge for West Virginia. I appreciate you all being here today and allowing me to be here. Drug trafficking issues loom large today, especially for law enforcement, individuals, families, and communities who are grappling with the cost and consequences of illegal and harmful drugs. As you all know, this is an urgent moment. Last year, more than 110,000 people died of drug poisonings. Today, drug poisonings are the leading cause of death for Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. These drugs being trafficked today, including the synthetics, are more addictive, more potent, and more dangerous than we have seen. This is a calculated treachery that is being done to drive addiction and ultimately profits. Our history of lessons learned are more important than ever before. Today, we face a frightening drug landscape, rife with challenges and complexities as we counter the predatory criminal drug networks, bringing violence and harm to our communities. This is a direct threat to the safety and health of every community in this country and to our national security. I'm especially proud of the work done by all the law enforcement partners during this investigation. While West Virginia leads the nation in drug poisonings and drug poisoning deaths per capita, partnerships like the one of the agencies that you see standing before you are crucial. These partnerships put those who trade in illegal drugs on notice. If you sling your poison in our communities, we will be relentless in our efforts to bring you to justice. Thank you.
Now I'd like to open it up, any questions anyone might have. The reason we decided to have it today was the last major defendant pled guilty earlier today. I wanted to do something not only to give credit to the people standing behind me and the people standing out in the field, but also we have never spoken about what happened with respect to the last couple of defendants, Gallegos, to people in California, the fact that we were able to take a drug investigation that started here locally and spin it all the way to our southern border and charge people at our southern border and bring them back to the state of West Virginia for them to face consequences here, I think speaks volumes about how in-depth this case was done. We've had, of the 31 defendants, 30 of them have pled guilty. One went to trial and was convicted. So I think that speaks volumes about the quality of work that was done by everyone involved in this case.
Is this more direct in terms of connected to the southern border than your typical drug distribution situation you see here in West Virginia?
Much more. I mean, normally you don't, we've basically tracked this down to the southern border. Normally you will see, occasionally you'll see some parcels that will come in from out of the country, but the fact that we've got someone or two people from California who have been charged and convicted in this case, I think speaks volumes how big of a reach this case actually had.
Are you hoping that at some point, if we haven't already, go over the border and be able to do something for the actual source?
Would love that. That would involve a lot of cooperation, not only from the people behind me, but we would need cooperation south of the border on that and actually to get the persons extradited back to here. Am I saying that's a possibility? Yes. And I can't really say a whole lot more than that, but that is the source. That's where this stuff was coming from. And if we can do some cross-borders, we've done some cross-border prosecutions in my office before. Mostly those are parcels, not actually where we're getting them from where it's been shipped from across the border. If we can get the actual people and we can actually get them extradited back here. I know we just brought in another matter unrelated to this, we brought a person back from Eastern Europe. I forget where exactly that was, had some charges facing. So yes, and we're looking, and there's some things I can say and there's things I can't say about that.
I guess everyone's quite surprised. 15, 20 years ago, the meth itself was just small amounts. How in the world did it get to this point?
I've seen meth sort of evolve in southern West Virginia. A lot of the meth when it first got here was being manufactured here a lot of times in small kind of labs in bathrooms, labs in houses. Occasionally you'd have the labs blow up. What we're seeing now, we're seeing essentially industrial process where before they might have been making 15 grams, now they're making hundreds of pounds. Now they're making enough where it has to be transported by tractor and trailer. That's not a good thing. But the fact, and another scary part of this is the purity of the methamphetamine. A lot of times when we first saw it, like you said, 15 or 20 years ago, it was being made by people who couldn't pass high school chemistry, and the purity level was pretty low. The purity level on the stuff we're seeing now, the stuff that was seized here, is exceedingly high. I don't have the drug results in front of me, but it's a lot higher than what we first saw. So what that means is there's actually an industrial process, I think, being used to manufacture it. Other questions? Or questions from any of my partners behind me? I'd like to close once again, not the people behind me and the people that are out here and the people who are out in our streets that worked on this case. They deserve a lot of credit. They really put a lot of time and effort, not only in this case, but in cases every day. And this case shows what happens when everybody works together. I come from an era when if you had 15 grams of meth, that was a lot. Or if you had 800 grams of meth, it was a lot. The fact we're talking, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of meth, that just shows, number one, how scary the situation is, but also how effective we are, because we really are getting it at the source. This is the case that reflects us getting it at the source. With that being said, thank everyone for being here.